Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, my dear friends. Welcome to the second session of our webinar series on Neurodharma. For some of you who attended last week, you know what Neurodharma is. Neurodharma is basically understanding the truth of the mind through the truth that gets manifest or gets realized in our neural system, including the brain. So anything that we do, all meditations that we are doing, all practices that we are doing has an impact on the brain. We are understanding through this program, we're understanding what each and every step is causing to the brain so that we get motivated. And we're also learning a lot of neural hacks for us to kind of use those hacks whenever needed to change that part of the brain. Like I mentioned last time, the analogy of understanding what's going under the hood of a car, in the engine of a car, is important for us to fix if the car runs into any issues, or at least call for help. That's what we're trying to understand with the brain. Last week, we saw we talked about 7 keys. Last week we saw the first key, which was steadiness. How do we cultivate steadiness in meditation? Again, I know a lot of you have probably been meditating for a while, and a lot of us have been meditating. So this in no way is a new way to meditate. It's not a new approach. We all continue to practice breath mindfulness meditation only. Whatever I am talking about in this series are all minor enhancements, minor tuning, minor tweaks to our meditations. We add some of these to our meditation so that we benefit a lot from our meditation. And that is where we all, in spite of a lot of months, a lot of years of meditation, our mind remains fragmented. Our mind remains scattered. We don't get the full benefits of meditation. And that is where the answer to the question I was trying to seek through several books, and that is where I hit upon Neurodharma, and this is what we are sharing in this particular series. Last week, I learned about steadiness and the kind of changes that it does to the brain. And we talked about 5 factors of steadiness. So relaxing the body, that reduces the amygdala, that deregulates the amygdala. And then we spoke about quietening our thinking, which regulates or silences our default mode network and the language centers. Then we spoke about one-pointedness. Again, it changes some parts of the brain. Then groundedness, being grounded as a tree, right? So how does that happen? So that again, we spoke about how there are some place cells in hippocampus that gets activated, and finally creating a safety around us in terms of feeling safe. And we also did the practice. And this week, in this session, we're going to look at the second key, which is warm-heartedness. Let me just quickly share. Warm-heartedness or warmth or loving kindness. Some of you who've been practicing Buddhist literature will know that there is a meditation called loving kindness in Buddhist practices, which is exactly what we're going to talk about and what are the changes it makes to our brain. So first, what is warm-heartedness? What is warmth? What is loving kindness? These words are often misunderstood. Warmth, I'm going to use the word warmth instead of warm-heartedness every time. So warmth is not forcing positive feelings. It's not about faking warmth or loving kindness. It's not a weakness or a passivity. Warm-heartedness or warmth is the quality that you would bring. Just remember this feeling. When you are helping a friend who is struggling, what is the kind of feeling that you get, right? When you genuinely wish and care for somebody, what is the kind of feeling that you get? When you sincerely love or show affection to anybody, what is the feeling that you get? And same thing on the reverse. Somebody shows you utmost care, you go to a house, they pamper you, they take care of you so well. What is the feeling that you get? That is warm-heartedness. It's the opposite of coldness. Warm-heartedness is basically feeling soft, feeling tender in our heart. Without warmth, your body contracts. Whereas with warmth, your body softens. You feel a lot more relaxed. So that is what is warm-heartedness. And how do we practice warm-heartedness? I'm going to talk about the neuroscience behind warm-heartedness as well. Before that, how do we practice warmth in meditation? Some of you may have been practicing practices like loving kindness and heart elevation in some of the meditations. This is exactly similar, right? So basically, you place your hand on your chest, on your heart region, and then remember a specific instance where you received genuine kindness or you gave genuine kindness. It could be to your partner, it could be to your children, it could be to your parents, it could be to a friend, it could be to a colleague, or it could be to a pet. So you remember that sequence, remember that instance, and then allow that feeling of warmth to develop in your heart region. Let yourself fully re-experience, and then extend that feeling of lovingness, loving kindness, or warmth to your own self. You're generating that warmth to yourself. I'll talk about self-compassion. Why is it important in meditation and outside meditation? So that is one way to cultivate meditation, cultivate warm-heartedness during meditation. The other way is, some of you know, we do this affirmations kind of a thing, right? So may I be steady, may I be kind, may I be safe, may I be at peace. So you can repeat those affirmations as you place your hand on your chest region. So this is another way for us to cultivate warmth or generate warm-heartedness during meditation. And how do we do it in daily life? Again, like mindfulness, whatever we are practicing, whatever we are learning, steadiness we learned in last session, and this session we are learning warm-heartedness, all these can and should be practiced in daily life as well. So how do you practice warmth in daily life? So when a difficulty arises, anytime you feel tense about it, when a difficulty arises, or somebody spoke something ill about you and then you're getting angry, right? So instead of letting out the anger, you just place a hand on your heart. Yeah, it's okay. That is hard to accept. Or you made an inadvertent mistake. Instead of blaming yourself and killing yourself, you just place a hand and say that's okay. All is well. Some of you might know the movie, right? You just place your hand here and say all is well. So similarly, that's okay. So that is one. And then when the way we practice warm-heartedness with others is about not judging them. Before we judge, take a pause and empathizing with them in terms of what they might be going through. What is it they might be struggling through, right? So that is number two. And more importantly, we talk about warm-heartedness with ourselves. A lot of times we have a hard self-talk. Oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. Why am I doing this? I cannot do this. I'm always messing things up, right? So anytime you feel that mind chatter trying to come up, then you just tell yourself, I am human. This is part of learning. All mistakes are part of learning. So sometimes we shoot ourselves for mistakes. And the second thing is we celebrate small wins. So these are these are three ways that we practice warmth in daily life. All right, so now let's understand the neuroscience behind warm-heartedness or warmth. Our brain operates fundamentally in two operating modes: threat mode and safety mode. The easiest way to explain this is with an analogy. Let's assume you're walking in a forest alone, and suddenly you hear some noise behind the bushes. What happens? We get into the fight or flight or freeze mode. Our sympathetic nervous system activates. We are scanning for danger. Our heart beats faster. This is a threat mode. And after a while, you see that the noise behind the bushes is just because of a rabbit. Immediately what happens? Your body relaxes, your jaw relaxes, your shoulders relax, and your heartbeat, oh my God, your heartbeat cools down, right? So this is the safety mode. When we are in that safety mode, our ventral vagal nerve gets activated. So all of us might think, and I'm in meditation, I'm a meditator, I'm doing meditation, I'm always calm. But there can be a coldness behind the calm. I'll talk about a couple of examples. So adding warmth to our meditation practice allows that coldness also to be converted into connection. Connection is not everything, but like when you kind of are able to feel for others. That's what I mean by connection. So when the vagus nerve activates, when you completely relax, oxytocin, a hormone called oxytocin, gets generated. And loving kindness practice increases oxytocin by 47%. What does it mean? What does it feel like? What is oxytocin? Oxytocin is the cuddle hormone, it's a bonding hormone. You bond with your friend, you bond with your partner, you bond with your children, you bond with your colleagues, you bond with your parents. Every time there's that bonding happens, not cognitively, not through thinking. Okay, we all think the same, right? So not thinking, it's about the feeling connection, heart to heart feeling connection. You feel good about it. You feel a sense of warmth there. Every time you do that, you feel a sense of warmth. So oxytocin is sometimes called the cuddle hormone. When it increases, you will feel a flutter in your chest region, softening in your chest region, a sense of warmth, a comfort spreading through your body. And you are not in that state of fear or looking for danger. And then you have a desire to connect, sincere desire to connect or empathize with the other person, not sympathize, empathize with the other person. And it's about approachability, not isolation, right? So anytime oxytocin gets generated, when your vagus nerve gets activated, that means you are in that mode of approachability, right? So you feel things are safe, so you can approach rather than going to the fight or flight mode. So oxytocin also deactivates the sympathetic nervous system, fight, flight, or freeze. When you move into the relaxation response compared to stress response, oxytocin gets released. And it increases the gray matter in the temporal parietal junction, which is the empathy center. So we empathize with the other person. So I've heard people, when they add this practice of heart elevation, practice of loving kindness, practice of warm-heartedness to their meditation, right? They've been meditating for a long time, but the moment they started adding this practice to their meditation, there was someone who came and said, I've been meditating for a long time, but a couple of days ago is when my daughter herself came and started chatting with me on several of her issues and several of her problems. Connection increases. People feel that you are approachable. Similarly, my wife, that person said, my wife started asking or connecting at a deeper level than we used to connect earlier. So these are positive outcomes of adding warm-heartedness or warmth into our meditation practice. So oxytocin is one. And let's talk about the vagus nerve. All of you know that we have this vagus nerve, and you must have heard about vagal breathing. Anytime you exhale long, your vagus nerve gets activated. We do this equal breathing. Most of pranayama also kind of works with the vagus nerve. And this vagus nerve is fascinating. If it's your body's longest cranial nerve running from your brain stem all the way down through your chest and abdomen, the back of your chest and abdomen, connecting the brain to the heart, to the lungs, and to the digestive system. It's like a two-way information highway. It constantly sends messages heart to brain. We are safe or we are threatened. The message that goes from the heart to brain, when the message is we are threatened, then the freeze response, fight or flight or freeze response gets activated. So when the heart says we are safe, then immediately the parasympathetic nervous system gets activated, the relaxation response. Similarly, from the brain to the heart, there are messages like calm down or speed up. When you are relaxing, the brain tells your heart, calm down. When you are threatened, when you need to run, the brain tells the rest of the body, need to run, speed up. The vagus nerve has two branches, and which one is active determines your entire experience of life, as you see here. The dorsal vagal, which is the old system or which is the ancient system, not the old, it's still existing. This comes from our reptilian ancestry. This is the reptilian freeze response. When you are overwhelmed, when threat is too much, the system shuts you down. Dissociation, numbness, freezing, playing dead, emotionally. Basically, you are devoid of all emotion. There's no time for you to kind of get emotional there. Whereas the new system, ventral vagal, this enhances social engagement. This induces calm, but calm and connected. Social engagement is about connection. And it also kind of shows the moment you are relaxing. When do you relax? You don't relax when things are going crazy, when things are frightening around it, right? So the moment you enter into relaxation, you caution safety to the brain. And similarly, like last class we understood, you need to caution that you are safe for you to enter into the relaxation response as well. So doing meditation without warmth allows you a sense of calmness without connection. Whereas once you start cultivating the calm, for a lot of us in advanced stages of meditation, automatically this happens. So nothing to worry. I mean, you might already be feeling a sense of warmth, already feeling a sense of loving kindness for people who've been doing meditation for a long time. For others, it's a good idea to add this practice. It's about the calmness that indicates numbness versus the calmness that indicates peace. That's the difference between the calmness before and after. So what do I mean by, what do we mean? Let me clarify when I mean by warm-heartedness or warmth. The common misunderstandings, it's not about loving everything at any cost. It's not being warm-hearted, like being nice when you need boundaries, letting people walk over. Oh, I'm going to show compassion to everyone so that people can just walk over me. They can do whatever I want. Spiritual bypassing, when you feel angry, not exhibiting anger and faking peace, faking calmness, right? So warmth is not weakness. Showing warm-heartedness is not a sign of weakness, or you don't need to force positive feelings. So warmth is about staying connected, the most important point. In fact, the healthiest mind framework by one of the US universities has one of the 4 key parameters or key attributes as connection, engagement, connection. So staying connected while staying clear, being both strong and soft, acknowledging all emotions with care, resilience, and authentic care. So warmth makes you more real, not less. So here's an example. Again, a scenario where a doctor who has a solid breath meditation practice uses meditation to stay calm during her 12-hour shifts. But she's calm, but parallelly she's also cold to whatever is happening outside. She's not connected to others, connected to her colleagues, present, but not too caring. And as she started understanding this whole thing about heart elevation, loving kindness, generating warmth or generating warm-heartedness, she spent 5 minutes doing the heart elevation or the loving kindness practice. She started connecting. She started feeling, earlier she used to treat certain things as a chore. Now she used to connect. She used to start talking to people. She used to feel that calmness is not just about being silent, right? It's about engaging. It's about she could handle chaos and still stay human rather than being hardened. So you will see the difference as you continue to go through a practice with loving kindness. self-compassion, as we continue to do warm-heartedness practice, first thing that we need to do is about being warm-hearted, being caring, being loving to our own selves. Why is that important? Sometimes we hear, oh, isn't self-compassion selfish? Shouldn't I focus on compassion for others? I want to be selfless, so I don't care about me. No, that's not the right answer. I mean, a lot of you who traveled by flight, we all know the flight attendant. First, put on your own oxygen mask first and then help your child or help the others. So when you don't show self-compassion, when you don't have compassion towards yourself, but start showing compassion outside, what are you showing compassion? Where are you giving compassion from? You are an empty cup without compassion for yourself. How are you giving compassion to others? So that's why it's important. Christine Neff, one of the University of Texas, Austin research shows people with high compassion are more able to care for others sustainably, not less. It's not that if you show compassion for yourself, you'll not be able to show compassion for others. So compassion for yourself allows you to show compassion for a lot more. Because when you don't have compassion, care for others comes from depletion. So friends, it's important. Self-love, we heard about it. Self-love, self-esteem, self-care, self-compassion. All this is important. Only when you have that can you give that to somebody else. When you are giving from a compassionless cup, all that it creates is resentment and burnout for yourself. Oh, I've been doing so much work for them. I've been doing things for them selflessly. In spite of that, they say this. You resent. And then you feel a sense of burnout. Oh my God, from morning to evening, I need to serve that person, serve this person. I need to keep doing this. So all that feeling comes because you are not showing self-care. You're not showing compassion to yourself. When you are giving from fullness, this creates sustainable compassion. And the way you can practice, as I said, is each breath in, you can practice integrating into your meditation. May I be steady, that is the steadiness, and then may I be kind, that's the loving kindness. The breath carries both stability and warmth. So what is this neuroscience of lasting change? Again, I want to kind of quickly talk about one research. How does this translate? How does these brain changes translate into what you actually experience in your life? Dr. Richard Davidson did this research again at the University of Wisconsin. 7 weeks he had a bunch of people, obviously had a control group, bunch of people go through 7 weeks of loving kindness practice. And they continue to measure the changes to the brain. What happened is the left prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for approach and avoidance, it started growing. The activity there started increasing. How does it help? Let's assume you see a homeless person. Ideally, normally what happens, as soon as you see someone, you look away. You feel uncomfortable and you avoid eye contact. But after adding this loving kindness meditation, what they found was there were more people connecting or engaging with the homeless person, whether they're giving some money or at least making eye contact, saying hello or whatever, right? So they found that post loving kindness meditation, this set of people were able to engage or empathize with situations. It's not about being a better person. It's about your left prefrontal cortex wiring toward a better approach rather than avoidance. Similarly, your insula, there's another part of the brain that gets activated. You're able to feel a sense of a lot more body awareness and a lot more empathy. So when the insula comes online, it embodies empathy. And then the temporal parietal junction, which is responsible for taking a perspective. The other person, without that activation, we always feel the other person is wrong. But with that activated in our brain, we feel, yeah, maybe you start thinking about from that other person's angle as well. The other person doesn't seem to be unreasonable. That's what we keep thinking, right? So even in disagreement, you can genuinely understand others' viewpoint. Again, one important factor of what we call as mindful intelligence. So Richard Davidson's research shows these changes just after 7 weeks of practice, less than 2 months. But the remarkable thing is the changes to the brain aren't temporary. They are lasting. As you continue to do this practice, like we spoke in the last session, the more you are in that particular state, your brain's networks get activated or get used to that particular state. And that continues outside of meditation as well. They persist. Your new baseline becomes a lot more empathetic. But the moment you drop the practice, again, things will go back to its earlier state. So as you continue to practice, you will see the benefits from outside of meditation as well. So another scenario before we get into the practice ourselves. So let's assume there is a board meeting. This is a scenario that the author talks about. There's a board meeting where you're going to present some results. You're going to present some situation or accounts or whatever. And in that board meeting, let's assume someone is asking a ton of questions and you realize that you don't have answer. Your answers don't pacify that particular person. You feel very bad. You feel angry. You feel bad that you don't have answers, or you feel angry that the person is trying to make you look bad, right? So, but the default for a meditator, for a long-term meditator, the default, behavior is calmness. We're all there, right? So we don't want to react. We want to respond much better, right? There again, there's two modes: reaction and response. Each of them exercise different parts of the brain. So instead of reacting, you are calm during that particular instant, right? But you're also a bit shut down. You are like numb. Why is this happening? That kind of calmness is a lot more numbness. After the meeting, you'll start probably reminiscing about it. Oh my God, why did I do this? And then you go home, your spouse asks you, how was the day? And you just shut off. You just don't talk anything about it, right? You're free. Then internally, you are a lot different. You're calm, but you still have that sense of pain or suffering inside you. Whereas once a practice of loving kindness or warm-heartedness gets established, or heart elevation gets established in your everyday meditations, right? The sense of calmness is a lot more empathetic. When some person in the meeting raises some important questions about your presentation, earlier you would have probably gone into a defensive mode, whereas now you'd probably put yourself in that particular person's shoes and see from that particular perspective. Instead of seeing it as an attack, you see it a lot more reasonable because you connected to that particular person as a human. So you are steady, grounded, calm, but as well as open, connected. That is what warm-heartedness or loving kindness brings to our everyday life. So, my dear friends, closing on this note, if your compassion does not include yourself, it is incomplete. So we do practice gratitude. That's also fine. But the suggestion is kind of you try to practice this heart elevation or loving kindness or some kind of warm-heartedness before, at the beginning of your meditation. Your brain circuit would have made you a lot more relaxed. You would have stopped that scattering of mind that happens during meditation and after meditation. So include heart. The author, Dr. Rick Hansen, provides this guidance saying that include heart elevation or include loving kindness in your meditations. If your steadiness, you are steady, but if it doesn't include the warmth, it is incomplete. If your focus does not include connection, it is incomplete. You need both. The breath provides the rhythm, the steadiness provides the foundation, the warmth provides the reason to be present at all. So that is warm-heartedness. So we will dive into a 20-minute practice here. So what this 20 minutes that we will do is like, I will guide you. We will establish steadiness for a few minutes, and then I will guide you to place your attention on your heart region, breathe through the heart region, right? And then think about an incident where you feel cared or you have given care. And then we do our normal breath mindfulness meditation with grounding and caring, and then we exit out of meditation. All right, my dear friends. So we will, after our practice, we will kind of get into the Q&A session. So today's session is all about warm-heartedness. Last week we saw the key of steadiness. This week, the second key among the 7 keys is warm-heartedness or warmth. And we saw how generating warmth by placing our hand and thinking about a caring situation, loving situation, or just thinking about it, activates certain parts of the brain region, including our vagus nerve, how it relaxes our body and mind, how it provides a safe zone for our meditation to go deeper. And we also saw how a practice of warm-heartedness during meditation also allows us to be feeling more connected to others and the world outside of meditation in our everyday life. With that, let's dive into our practice of meditation. So let's go into our usual practice. So for those of you who are new, we just close our eyes, clasp our fingers into fingers, cross our feet at the angle, sit comfortably with your back and head straight and relaxed. If you're sitting on a cushion or a sofa, so be it. You sit in a lotus position, and I will do the guidance, and that will be without music. Slowly keep your body relaxed, settle into a comfortable, stable posture. Take a few deep breaths, allowing your body to relax. Maintain alertness. Now first, let's do the grounding. Feel your foundation. Feel the way you are sitting on the cushion or on the chair. Feel your feet touching the earth, the ground. Feel the pressure of your bottom sitting on the chair. Feel the straightness of your posture. Feel your body supported by the seat. As you feel supported, start observing your normal, natural breathing. Feel yourself grounded. Feel as if the breath is flowing into the earth and out. You can choose an anchor point for observing your breath at your nose, or you can observe the movements in your chest region or your stomach region. With each breath, feel yourself becoming more grounded, more stable. Avoid all thoughts, quieten your mind, tell your mind 15 more minutes of being with your breath. Feel the space around you. Feel the location you are in, the room you are in, the house you are in. You're telling your brain and your mind, I am safe. This allows your body to relax more. Continue to be with your breath. Feel the feet touching your ground. Feel your seat. Feel the space inside you. Feel your body supported. Feel your body safe. Observe the natural rhythm of your breathing. There are parts of your brain already changing. As you relax, as you feel grounded, as you feel safe. One pointed attention at your nose or your chest region or your stomach region. Just watch, observe, feel the way inhale and exhales are happening. You do not alter your breathing. Now, slowly bring your attention to your chest region, the area around your heart. Place your hand on your heart if that feels comfortable. Begin to recall someone you care about. Perhaps a friend, a family member, a colleague, a pet, or somebody. Easy to feel loving towards. Think of them. Think of the way they treat you. Think of the way, feel the way that you feel when you are with that person or in that particular, it could be a specific incident or an act as well, where you want to feel grateful for. Notice what happens in your chest as you think of them. A softening, perhaps some warmness, relaxing. feel the feeling for a couple of moments. It's not about thinking. This is about feeling. Just allow these warm, loving feelings to be present. As you feel the feeling, now imagine you're breathing directly through your heart area. Breathe in love. Breathe out warmth or care or compassion. As you inhale, feel love flowing in through you, filling your chest. As you exhale, feel the love or warmth flowing out, spreading through your body. Just your normal, natural breathing. On every inhale, think you are receiving care, compassion, and love. On every exhale, think you're offering care, compassion, or love. Continue the rhythm for 2 more minutes. Hand on chest, feeling of loving kindness to a person or from a person. Feel the change in your body. If you're feeling warm, soft, tingling, then that is oxytocin generated by your brain. You feel your heart region tingling with sensations. Your body pulsing with sensations. Now, feel a sense of compassion towards yourself. Whatever feelings you generated in the heart region, send it to all over your body. Basically, you feel the sensation that you felt in your heart region in different parts of your body. Should feel lighter, should feel relaxed, should feel loving towards your body and mind. Feel forgiving. This is self-compassion. Everything is all right. All is well. With that feeling of compassion, self-love, and caring, Slowly bring your attention back to your anchor point, your nose, your chest, or your abdomen, and continue observing your normal, natural breathing for the next 5 minutes. If you feel you want to continue to stay in the warmth of your heart, you can continue to do so. Breathing in and breathing out through your heart region. Feel the groundedness. Feel your feet touching the floor. Feel the space around you. Feel the way you are sitting on your chair or your cushion. Different parts of your brain are getting activated, or some parts of your brain, like your amygdala, is getting silenced. Feeling the steadiness, the way you are rooted to the ground. Feel your back, head, and neck straight. Relax your eyebrows. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Keep your body relaxed. No need to control anything. You are safe. You are held. You are loved. Continue to experience loving emptiness. 3 more minutes. If your mind wanders, recognize that and bring it back to your anchor point. Last 2 minutes. Be aware of the peace, the tingling, loving sensations throughout your body. your awareness, your attention, your steadiness, your groundedness, your warmth, your compassion, your loving kindness, all these have changed different parts of your brain with just a practice of 20 minutes. Wonderful, my dear friends. Slowly feel grateful for the experience the last 20 minutes. Become aware of your body, become aware of the room around you. Relax your body. Place your palms on your eyes for a few seconds and you can open when you're ready. Wonderful. I hope some of you are able to feel the different, as you were practicing the different keys of steadiness and loving kindness, you're able to feel what was happening in your body. Again, the point of this is to improve or enhance your meditation practice. If you're already comfortable with your meditation practice, continue to do the same. Maybe you're already practicing some of these. If not, adding steadiness, adding warm-heartedness will help you get into a deeper practice. During meditation, as well as following meditation, your mind will not get as scattered as it used to happen before. And as I mentioned, understanding the neuroscience. In fact, today we sent out a note to all your emails about neurodharma and why it's important or it's good to understand about neurodharma. It acts as a motivation for us. Yeah, whatever thing I do, there is a corresponding change that's happening in my brain. And if it happens in the brain, if I continue to sustain the practice, that same behavior will continue even outside of my meditation practice. So that is the goal, right? And definitely you will feel, in fact, I used to be that way. When I used to, I keep talking about it as well. Somebody comes and sits with me, could be my daughter, could be my colleague, or could be my wife, comes and starts complaining about certain things. I used to be in a state of absolute calm. I used to think this is wonderful, without passing any judgment, without passing anything. But then it's a bit cold, right? And immediately someone asks, my daughter used to ask, Daddy, are you listening? You're not even showing any signs of connection, right? So once I understood this practice, as I said, I started practicing from early this year. Once I started understanding this, then I used to be automatically, you don't even need to feign. Earlier, I used to feign responses, but now I don't feign responses. Automatically, that spontaneity will come. The other person talking to you will also feel connected, right? So that all happens automatically. That is because of the way we become. And all we need to do is just follow the practice. No cognitive things that we need to remember. You have to be this way, you have to be this way. All right. So my dear friends, so we've seen two keys, steadiness and warm-heartedness. Next session on Saturday, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be around craving. It's about fullness. The next key is fullness and what happens due to craving in the brain. And what happens when you overcome craving? What do you need to do in the brain to overcome craving? which are the centers of the brain that you need to deregulate or upregulate is what we're going to see.